Greetings everyone and welcome back to Captain of Industry, where as you can see our trucks are very busy. More busy than they really should be. We are presently doing an amazing job of building out the future very large dock area down here, but that is resulting in fairly large delays more or less everywhere else in the colony. This is something that I would like to fix, but it might be a little while before we can. With each truckload, or rather each convoy load of rock and slag brought down here, we are getting closer to the point where this isn't going to be a problem, but yeah, that's not exactly the best scenario, really. Now, at the end of the last episode, we had managed to complete a couple of big projects. Namely, we now have automated delivery of oil going on and automatic production of rubber, though that can be enhanced, and it's something that I would like to work on in this episode. Additionally, we have completely moved our iron smelting over here, and as you can see, we were actually completely backed up on 2 storage units full of iron plate, and that's actually quite a big thing for us. What we didn't get to in the last episode was setting up any steel production, so that is the second job that I would like to be focusing on in this episode. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have a burgeoning water supply area over here. This is actually, I'm really happy with it. We're gradually managing to set this up. We're not really tapping into the groundwater as much, though I say and then check over, and we absolutely are actually tapping into the groundwater. But when it rains, we do manage to get a fair old bit of water from the rainwater collectors. So this right here is quite nice. I would like to expand it, but specifically not over here, because over here I would like to start setting up our steam generators. That was the last job that is kind of on my medium future to-do list. So if we can hit all 3 of those, I would be very happy in today's episode. Right, so with that said and done, let's just have a look over a couple of things. As I mentioned in the previous episode, there is a bit of house cleaning work to be done, not least of which is going to involve the trucks. That is a problem that might take a little while for us to fix, though. We are currently not doing any research, so let's go and have a look at what we could be looking into. Now, I did mention that there was a little bit more that we could do with rubber, and specifically that is sulfur processing. If we could get to the point that we could take the sour water output from our diesel refining and add a little bit of extra steam, we could get sulfur and ammonia. Now, right now we have nothing to do with the ammonia, but later on this will actually be quite useful for us. That sulfur can then take the place of the coal in our rubber production. So that removes coal as a dependency for more or less any of the really important stuff that comes from oil. We can also use a bit of sulfur plus water to get acid. Oh, not enough maintenance. That's a little bit of a problem. We'll go and check that out. But acid would allow us to be able to make copper refinement a little bit more effectively. Additionally, not too far into the distant future, then we can probably look at getting Assembly Electric 3 up and running. But let's start with the sulfur processing. That seems to be the most important of these. Now, where are we with maintenance? Okay, what's the problem down? It's the copper. Okay. Very well. What is the issue there in particular? Are we lacking a delivery of copper? No, it seems like everything is moving along reasonably well. We've got 16 units being produced every 40 seconds, and every 40 seconds we are producing, taking 16 hours. We're only making 13 copper. Without the acid, this is an inefficient setup. Okay, well that is going to be a bit of an issue then. We're going to have to get on top of that. Can we, in the meanwhile, help with a bit of trade? No, not there at the very least. What about our other trading partner? We could do a bit of trade there, and we'd be exchanging what is effectively concrete, more or less infinite for us, wood, significantly less infinite, and iron, which we have in such vast amounts, probably functionally infinite as well. Alright, I think we'll go for that quick trade, just to alleviate that problem. Let's drop 2 trades in there until the price gets a little bit worse. There we are, and we'll allow our trucks, our delivery trucks, who haven't got a spare second to get to that. Additionally, we are starting to see an impact on water pollution. This is not so great. Our population is actually dropping. So one thing we're going to need to do here is to get a growth boost going. Let's start fixing that a little bit wherever we can. All right. Is that okay? No, it's running out of power every now and then. Okay, so we've got a couple of jobs. A good couple of jobs that we need to get to. Right, well, the first and foremost then, to try and alleviate, and this is a very simple fix, to try and alleviate some of the hauling priorities for our trucks, we are simply going to place down a pipe. Now, how much do these each use? They're probably pulling a decent amount of fluid from them. So let's go with something like this. Can I get around there? Not easily. All right, well, what we'll do is we'll come down so far, and we'll duck to the side, then should be able to get all the way around. There we go. And then we can hook up down there. There we are. Now, do we have enough materials to get that done? Yes, let's take the pressure off our delivery trucks. This one you're going to have to deliver to yourself. Toggle direction. And indeed, this one also upgraded. Toggle direction. And finally, we'll be down here with the water. Now, I'm going to tell you stop importing over here. Well, actually, for now, I guess I'll allow you to continue delivering the water where you can. This will take a little bit to be built, but what I would like to see happen is this pipe continue from here. So we're thinking about there, out along here, there, about there will do. Then we're going to have to rise up. Actually, could we squeeze through there? We might be able to, you know. Ooh, that would actually be very nice. There we go. Okay, well, let's lift this up just a tad. And straight over. Oh, that's perfect. I deeply approve. Let's actually bring that back just a little bit. And then back down. There we go. Now, what I would like is to eventually have two of these side by side. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And that will allow me then to pipe this water direct in there. We don't actually need that to be a level 2. No, cancel that one. We want that one to be a level 1. Level 1 pulling off the pipe into the settlement itself. But we will want wastewater being extracted out there. Now, once that's all done, should be in a much, much better position. In fact, can we speed that along? Sadly, no. This is still a pipe 2. That's fine for now, I guess. I think overall we're not going to worry about having more storage than these. Let's bump that all the way up. I pretty much want this kept full all the time. These should be completely disabled. We don't want anything else going on with those. That should be fine. Okay, so this will become our future water storage. And we're not going to worry about having any dedicated water storage down here. That being said, perhaps we could simply to allow to have some dedicated water storage just in case there was ever a long drought. But still, I don't think we're really going to need that. We'll probably be at a point where we're going to have access to ocean water distilling, desalinization, before we're ever going to run into those kinds of problems. I know, famous last words. I am very much aware that that might go extremely awry. Extremely awry. Okay, so we're really, at this point, just waiting on this pipe being complete. Once that's done, everything there will be sorted out. And all of our water movement for both the settlement and the irrigation will just be that little trip there. That is going to be a big help for us. Now, with that in mind, do I want to very temporarily pop down another deal of groundwater? For the time being, yes. But we are actually going to be stripping down the vast majority of these diesel generators and replacing them with the enhanced steam output. There we go. Let's just quick build these. Make sure that we've got enough power in the settlement. There we are. Perfect. Okay, so now with that little bit of housekeeping done, let's move on to... Well, actually, before I do, let me just double check. How are we doing with maintenance? Are we starting to get back on top? We are. We are. Okay, that's not too bad. I actually do think that it's possibly more to do with my trucks being overwhelmed with the amount of deliveries they're having to do, rather than actually us being shy of copper. And this is an opportunity for me to really observe that process in action and see if that suspicion is correct. But how are we going to set up our power system over here? Well, first and foremost, let's mark out the area that I don't want to build on. And that would probably be from here. It doesn't really leave us with a lot of room, I'm going to be honest. We might actually want to cut back a lot of this plateau and open that up for us. I think that would probably be wise. I don't really see any other obvious places that we could set up. So maybe we could set up here, moving backwards, and then strip this mountain back as the need arises. Now, we are going to start things off with a boiler. Now, understand that this is going to be largely a backup boiler. Want to leave a good bit of clearance here, but let's pop... Well, we could start it over here instead, actually, thinking about it, and then build up in that direction, because wherever I put the boiler is going to cause a bit of an issue for future expansion. I suppose we don't actually need to worry too much about going over there, though. So sure, we can have the boiler right about here. You've got to make these plans early, otherwise you're going to spend a lot of time having to clean up after yourself. Even with that said, we're still going to have to adjust this system later on, no matter what. So we'll grab a boiler. We are going to need water, and we're going to need coal being delivered. Let's pop the coal delivery right here. This is the only place it's going to need the coal, so I'm happy to have that one there. This is largely, as I said, going to be a backup system, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But coal, keep it about half full, that's fine. Next up, though, we are going to want a decent amount of water. Now, being so close to this area, we could feasibly deliver the water directly. I'm not sure we will. That being said, it might help, because no matter what, we're going to want a large amount of steam. And planning for the future, because we are going to want to eventually start recycling. Let me just make sure I'm not getting too close. Yeah, we've still got enough room. Let's plan for that future. We are going to want a pipe balancer down about here. Let's say... Sure, I'll pop it there. Then we're going to want another delivery about... let's bring this back just a little bit more. In fact, let's move the pipe balancer around a tad as well, because I'm going to... I have very specific ideas on the way we're going to hook this up. That should work quite nicely. There we go. It's a little bit hard to see, I know, but there, it should be a little bit easier for you now. Right, so this will deliver water. We are going to have water coming in here from the recycling system, and then that can move up. This will prioritize input from this pipe, but if that isn't available, then we'll just take regular water deliveries. We don't want to export this, and we do want to keep it full. This one should have neither export or import, and it should be set up for water. We can already set all of these things right now, so we might as well. Further to that, we're going to want to bring water up and over, and we'll have to just do a little bit of a twist and turn. Alternatively, actually, we don't really need to do that. If we simply start rising up right here, then we can bring it down there. That should be fine, actually. It's, again, plan for the future. You will save yourself a lot of hassle. There we are. With that pipe there, I'll be able to take it in this direction to the other boilers that we're going to want to have going. Now, one of those boilers will be, if we head petroleum... Oh, actually, no, it'll probably still be down... sorry, still be in water. Yeah, there we are, the boiler gas. We're going to want to make use of any of the waste liquids at our... diesel refinery right now, because obviously the water pollution is a problem. I mean, it's dropped down a little bit, but it will keep creeping up here and there. So how about we make sure and take care of that now, sooner rather than later. And for this, as there are quite a few different options here, and I kind of feel that if we make use of all of them, then there will always be a time when we've got power. Simply, at the moment, we're not refining enough oil to really be able to use the waste liquids from that process to run a steam setup 100% of the time. Not for electricity, because that's very steam hungry. So, if we have 3, possibly 4 different boilers, in fact, we could just keep expanding the system out to increasingly add more ways of us having gas, and then just choose which one we're going to prioritize out of the entire system. That should work. So, given that, we've got... You can use hydrogen. Wow. Okay, that's actually pretty impressive, and it'll actually give you depleted steam as well as steam. That depleted steam could then be further processed. That's actually pretty cool. Let's go ahead and pop one there. We'll pop another one reasonably close. We'll pop another one about there. Now, are we pressing on the coal? It's sort of getting there. Sort of getting there, I'm not going to lie. So we are going to want to maybe pull these a little bit closer. And this is where I really do need to get my excavators digging out this coal seam a little bit more aggressively, so that we can get all of this out of the way and then have a nice plateau to work with. That being said, we might not need it at the end of the day. We may actually get away with that. Either way, let's see where the coal seam is. It starts fairly far back, so we should be alright just popping these down here. I think we might actually be encroaching a little bit. We might be okay, but do remember that there will be structural integrity concerns that we need to think about in the future. We're going to want to have... Actually, that didn't line up quite as well as I'd hoped. Oh well, that's just the way it's going to be. Let's have that one connect. Same over here. And the same down here. There we are. And then we can have the water just make its way all the way down and connect up. Perfect. That will be marvelous. Now, we're going to need to off-gas the CO2 and the exhaust. Thankfully, we can use that for both problems. Just let me see. If we use fuel gas, it would produce CO2, but the light oil, naphtha, medium oil, and heavy oil will all produce exhaust. So let's just assume that we're only going to be using exhaust for now. I know it's not really future-proofing the system, but still, I think that's fine. In fact, let's give plenty of room for this to get over there. I would very much like the pipe here to slide up and around. I know, I'm leaving a lot of space, and on a map where space is premium, that might be a little bit confusing. But the reason, you see, is actually quite simple. It looks ugly if I don't. I said this, the reason would be simple. I didn't say it would be good. There we are. And connect you up there, nice and easy like, and you up there as well, nice and easy like. Perfect. Right, that should deal with all of the exhaust, and then we've got 4 separate sources of steam. Now, the thing here is we want to very specifically not use any steam from this unless absolutely necessary. To that end, and indeed, I kind of want to prioritize the use of certain types of steam. We can have this one be the most high priority. Like, if that's available, I want the steam from this boiler to be used over anything else, then these two can go through separate conditions. So we would have one here, for example, one here, I would say. How far apart was that? There we go. And finally, another one from... well, we could have it over there as well. I guess we'd have very long pipes then. I suppose that isn't a terrible thing, all things said and done. This should, rather, make it quite visually clean as well. So there we go. Each one hooking up to the next. And this way we have very fine control over which unit is actually producing the steam that's going to be on the final pipe. And I really like that. I really, really like that. Now, of course, I could have done it in the other direction, and it would have not been leaning out into this area, which I'm kind of thinking more of a road in a way. and would have used this space a little bit better. Maybe there is something to be said about that. Yes, there is. Damn it, why didn't I think of this first? It's fine. Look, again, aesthetics mean quite a lot to me. There's no point in doing it if you can't do it and it look good at the same time. There we are, and here. This one can then be the priority, and we end up with a bit of a cleaner setup. And that is 1000% worth it in my opinion. There we go. And hook you up in a clean way, please. There we are. And finally, there we go. All done and done. Perfect. Right, it's going to take a little bit of time to get all of these done, especially because those require advanced components, which we have in rather short supply. We haven't even begun adding them over here yet, so we're getting fairly close, though. So, you know what, quick deliver. Let's get this on the go. And then finally, this is going to be the next priority. This one, I'm actually going to drop its priority. I'm going to tell you to be built when there's an excess of components, not as a priority delivery. And with that, we no longer want imports down here. It's that simple. We want everything to be pushed in this direction. There we go. We can now delete you, which is going to be fantastic. This can be upgraded, and we can deliver immediately. Let's get that one done, and then we can hopefully toggle direction. There we go. And we're going to want to do the same over here. Toggle direction. And finally, toggle direction. Now, I'm hopeful that these pipes are going to be able to move that water around. Yes, they can, even though they are in the process of upgrading. Marvellous. Right, so with that, we are almost complete. In fact, I do think we probably will be complete in just a second. We should see that water moving down the pipe system. It's reached this far. I love the fact that the water is actually in motion through the pipes. It's not simply end to end. That is very, very cool, if you ask me. At this stage, I could actually completely strip this down if I really wanted to, but I think I'll just leave it there since we've already gone to the effort of holding all the water down there. This is going to take me a little while to get up and running, though. Now, one thing I should check is, will any of these things require steel? No. No, thankfully, nothing here will require steel. However, everything is going to require these, which is going to be a problem. Interestingly enough, though, it seems that it's more a problem of my throughput at the factory than the delivery of components. That said, well, maybe a little bit of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, honestly, on that one. Okay, well, we're still working on silver processing. I've got a couple of different research jobs to do, and it looks like we're going to be waiting for materials to be delivered. So I'm going to pass a little bit of time, but you won't have to. See you in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to our very first delivery of crude oil. That is actually amazing. That's the first time we've seen that happen so far. I'm sorry I wasn't able to bring you back a little bit earlier, but you may notice that some things have changed. One of them is that we no longer have a beacon. We really don't need it. The other one is that I've moved the captain's quarters along a little bit to make room for gathering all of the materials that we're going to be using over here. I have to make a slight change of plan, though. One of those slight changes of plan was that we are going to be using fuel gas over here, since right now that has no other use. We're simply burning that off because we don't have anything to do with it, which seems a little bit ill-efficient, or inefficient, I guess I should say. Let's go ahead and try something else out, though. Now, I have been told many times that it's entirely possible to run this backwards. I would very much like to try that out. Let's get rid of you, because I want it to go up in a different way. There we go. We should be able to quick remove there. Tonk. Thank you. Now, let's see if this actually does work as advertised, and that it is each of these locations can be in and out. It doesn't really matter. So I can have effectively one item coming in, and then 3 output ports, or 3 input ports and 1 output port. That would actually be very, very cool, I think. No imports over here. Empty it as soon as you possibly can, though. Let's go ahead and upgrade that. And we'll see if this actually works as folks in the comments have suggested it does. Because if it does, that's actually going to be a massive thing for us. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it does. Well, well, well. I am impressed. I am very impressed. Right, we want to outgoing products from port marked X, please. That is actually quite awesome. Now, we want the other two items. We want fuel gas over here. No import, only export. And we would like light oil over here. No import, only export as well. And for each one, we're going to need a splitter. Let's pop the splitters, let's say about here then, I guess. Should be fine. Well, I guess I could have one right here. Oh my lord, this place is so ugly. It hurts to make a place this tightly packed. Oh my goodness. It actually hurts me. Oh, no. We're going to need to be a little bit more clever about this. We want to prioritize output on whatever this port is. So I can't have both of them come out from that port. So this one will have to be there. Okay, so that, it's going to take me a little while, I think, to get my head around how I'm going to be able to use this. But I think it will be very, very cool once we've got it happening. Let's get that over there. There you go. And that should take care of everything. And then we can, of course, delete this pipe. But that is going to be a huge, huge help for me. Let's go ahead and quick deliver that. Right, so we want to prioritize outgoing on port mark X. So we'll only burn it off if absolutely necessary in both locations. Finally, oh my lord, this is going to be a tricky one. Let's pop you about there, I think. And try, if we can be very sneaky, to... No, we're going to have to delete this one first. That will have to be deleted first, because I'm not going to be able to branch off it and still delete the connector, because the connector will be the thing that I would be deleting. This is why you should always endeavor, wherever possible, to make clean builds that aren't going to rely on tiny little squirrely bits. No. That is not goodness. That is badness. Oh, is it still a problem? Okay. Alright, well, we can fix this by being a little bit more sneaky. Coming out through here. Oh, no. This one's going up on layer 2. I suppose we could come up to layer 3. I think we might have to. And then journey back along. So about here, say. And then out on this side and back down. Oh my good lord, the spaghetti! Now, be honest with yourselves. Some of you are very happy with this. Oh dear. Send the vehicle to the nearest vehicle depot. If the depot is not reachable, the vehicle is disassembled and reassembled. How? I really would have liked it if you could have snuck out there. Okay. Well, quick remove this so you can leave. That's what I get. Quick deliver. I'm not going to have them disassembled and reassembled elsewhere. That seems entirely silly. Let's just remove this pipe. That seems like an easier job for us to do. There you go. Can you leave now? Can you go? Can you flee? No, you can't reverse. Because of course you can't. Why would life be easy? Alright, fine. Recover them. That does pain me a little bit, especially because I ended up stripping part of that down anyway, but oh well. Alright, there we go. This should now emphasize outgoing products on Mark X, outgoing products on Mark X as well. Yeah, that should mean that these are going to start stockpiling resources that we are going to want in the boilers over here. Let's see if we've actually got any deliveries yet. We haven't got any deliveries yet, but let's make sure that they keep full. There we go. So we will always, in fact, try and keep them completely full. There is no reason to only keep them half full. I would much rather that these always be full, because this is now going to be an incredibly important system for us. Now, this does mean that we're going to be sometimes burning off CO2, or rather exhausting CO2 and sometimes exhaust. But since I'm going to be giving very strong priority to one system over the other, let's switch this over. Incoming ports from O, same here. Incoming ports from O, same here. Incoming ports from O. Since we will generally only be taking from the fuel gas if we can, this is only going to really be using up CO2. It's not going to be flickering between the two because we're running multiple systems at once, is the hope, if nothing else. Right then, now it's time for us to really go into debt by trying to build these. Now this can output 1 megawatt power. This can use 500 kilowatts, so we can have 2 of these per. And ultimately, we're probably going to want more than 1 of these in a line. If memory serves, we were using 2 of them to 1 low-pressure steam boiler. And so that meant we would have 6 of these. So we'll build for that, I think. Let's start as we mean to go on. Now, this can begin life all the way down here. I guess we can begin the train about there. Let's give plenty of room to exhaust, though, if we need to. There we are. That should be okay. Now we're going to want steam inputs on these ports, I should imagine. Let's have a look. Yes, the steam will have to definitely come from that side. So, with that, I'm going to bring the pipe down here, because eventually I'm probably going to want to take another one out to have a second train going. Let's grab these in there. So giving that a little bit of clearance there will actually help. That being said, perhaps I could rise it up off the ground. No, I think that would be a little bit messy. The next we're going to want in this is probably, well, not really a flywheel here, if I'm perfectly honest, because we're ultimately going to want to replace that with something else. But the flywheel is a nice large structure, which is probably around about the same space as the low pressure turbine. So we'll go with that for now. And then we are going to want 6 of these beauties. Eventually. 4 for now. There we go. That's fine. Let's get that one made as a priority. And then, well, that one, oh wow, really, have we got enough? We have got enough. That is actually kind of shocking to me. Okay. Now that that's done, these 2 are going to be priorities for us. We'll get quick deliveries on these. There we go. Right, have we got fuel gas or anything brought over? No, not really. That one is currently full. These ones are currently full up. And we haven't yet oh, here we go. Have we got a delivery fuel gas? Yes! Perfect. Okay, that's marvellous. We should be seeing this kick into action right away. And the CO2 will already be exhausted. Excellent. Let's have a look back here. Still not seeing much in the way of spare light oil, but that doesn't really surprise me over much. Well, actually, no, it should. Here we are. Okay. Done and done. We want to prioritize on outputs marked O. Generally speaking, if there is light oil, it should be going into making rubber if that is necessary, though honestly our rubber is actually starting to stack up, which is actually quite nice to see. Alright, not too bad at all, and our queues are down to a much healthier level. And despite having boosts on quite a few buildings at this point, we're still unity positive, which is very, very nice to see. At this stage, iron is just, we've got ridiculous amounts of it. Alright, well, this is going to take a little while to get up and running, so in the meanwhile, we can instead look over here and perhaps look at setting up steel. Though that said, there is a very big part of me that is starting to think that maybe we should do the smelter treatment for the copper as well. Yeah. If we didn't have to move the copper all the way down here and we're only moving up coal, because right now we're moving coal and copper, Granted, the coal is only having to travel a little distance, but still, this would cut out one transport need entirely, which would be a big help. And it would also allow us to expand this setup to allow for 2 separate runs. I don't think we'll need more than 2. Okay, give me just a moment. While all this is going on, I'm going to set up a new smelting stack for copper. See you in a moment. And welcome back to our steam turbines actually doing their job. I am extremely happy because we've been struggling a little bit with power, partially because I decided to jump the gun and delete 3 diesel generators that maybe I shouldn't have deleted. Nevertheless, that is all done, and as you can see, we have demolished the original... Oh, actually, we've got one little conveyor there. We have demolished the original copper smelter, and at this point, we've demolished the entire original smelting array. Now, we are only halfway finished building the new smelting array, but as you can already see, it is a good bit of the way there. In fact, if we prioritize that, that will actually be quite nice to get done even over this. So I'm going to take the priority off this one. Well, actually, I'll just drop it. No, I can't, unfortunately. I can kind of manually put it at priority 2, and that will be good enough. Then this one can be a priority 3 after that. And then finally, this one can be... Well, actually, I guess that one should be priority 2, really, when you think about it. This one should be priority 3, and this one should be priority 4. Because there's no point in having the generators if I don't have the turbine to run them. But at this point, we are actually now generating a decent amount of power. We are going to need to unpause this. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit concerned about our workforce. Maybe without real need. We'll see. I do need to get this finished, though, so we can actually get the slag out of there. This one is going to take quite a few people, and we'll pull a decent amount on our current energy capacity, but that should be fine. And with that, we will have doubled the output of our copper, and I'm extremely happy about that, actually. That being said, how's our coal going? Because if coal runs out, we are going to be in a bit of a problem. Let's see. We've got loads that we can still excavate, so that actually shouldn't be too much of an issue. In fact, I'm kind of feeling that maybe a ramp up here would be a good option. It would mean a little bit of a detour to get around down here, but we are currently needing places to offload stuff. In fact, we didn't have anywhere that I was allowing people to drop dirt, because I was trying to keep it for resurfacing. And both of these trucks had ended up with a little bit of dirt in them. So that ground our production of concrete slabs to a complete halt, which eventually ground everything else to a halt. It just took me a while to notice, but thankfully I did notice in time before it was truly a crisis. But yeah, I think having something that would run up here would be actually quite nice. So with that in mind, how about we rotate this around? Let's get that going in the right direction. Something like this will do, and we could have probably from about here, I would say. Let's have a look. We want it to be up at 9, it seems. Yeah, 9 seems to be where we need it to be. So let's get that on the go. And then we're also going to want a fill order to fill this in up here. In fact, we could take that all the way over there if we really wanted to. And I would be completely okay with that. Let's get that in place. At this stage, I think maybe having a mine control tower here just to... Oh, where is it? Would that be... I would have thought it would be under buildings. Ah, this was the one thing I didn't click, apparently. Okay. But if we have a mine control tower here, and if I can, yeah, let's quick deliver. I can control what we're going to build this ramp out of. And there will be a little bit of excavating required as well. But I would like this to not use dirt wherever possible. So let's remove dirt from that, and let's also remove... Well, no, we don't need crushed slag. Slag, rock. We've got enough rock, I think, that we should be able to do the entire thing out of rock, but I guess we'll see. Let's edit the area. I'm going to want something like this. In fact, we're probably going to want to bring this all the way out. Let's not worry about bringing it all the way too soon, but... I think bringing it all the way out to about here or there would actually be quite useful, especially once we really have to start getting stuck in down here digging for the coal. That's going to be a little bit of a problem, especially this part, because we can't really afford to lose the access there for our truck. So that's going to be a problem I think we're going to leave very, very firmly in future me's hands. And speaking about future me, I think, sadly, with steel processing yet unfinished, that's going to be where we're going to have to leave this one off for today. We've just completed copper refinement. Let's go ahead and have a look down here what we're going to be working on next. These will almost certainly require construction part 3 to make, and that's going to require steel. So, yeah, everything there is going to take us a little bit of time. We could, however, start looking at guns. Yes, I think we will. It is time for our ship to become a battleship. We need to start clearing out the areas ahead of us a little bit. Now let's have a look at our current stockpile of resources. We're actually doing okay, except for the fuel gas, but that doesn't surprise me at all, since that's the primary resource we're burning to run our generators. But everything over here has now been filled up, so little by little we are cutting down on the amount of pollution that we're generating here and there. It could definitely be improved, but I think things are in a reasonable spot for now. Let's just switch that over to auto balance ahead of time. And over here, yes, we've completely renovated our copper smelting now. So our trucks at this point have to bring coal up and then take the copper plate away. And as soon as we have set up the production of acid, we can switch over our recipe over there from the water, which is taking 16 plates of impure copper and giving us back 13 plates of pure copper, and instead we'll be able to switch over to the acid process, which will give us 16 plates. So that will dramatically improve our copper production efficiency. But I think we're leaving things in a fairly good position. I would like to improve the overall health of our colonists if we can. That is a little bit of a stretch for us right now, because we are still dumping things. But one thing I can do, plenty of everything. There you go. Let's see how badly that breaks our power situation. It's now pulling 352 kilowatts to run the settlement, but they are now going to be eating food quite a lot faster, because we've got 2 separate edicts that are allowing them to have access to food, or rather to increased food, not just food itself. We've got the plenty of everything, and we've got the plenty of food, so that's up by 25%, that's up by 20%. So their food consumption is almost 50% higher right now. It's 45% higher. But I'm fairly happy with that. That should actually keep our unity nice and high. And as you've probably already noticed, we did actually need to increase our living space, because we were starting to run shy of workers. But with that, the final thing I'm going to give you a glimpse of is the progress that we're making up here. Now again, the limit up here, we've got to get up to level 45. We are approaching level 20, so we're about halfway to our goal. But on the plus side, once we start getting up to this area, it's going to start being dirt, which is going to be a little bit easier for us to dig. But I think getting more excavators on this project is probably a fairly high priority. Where I'm going to take those excavators from, I'm not yet certain, but we'll have to think about that in the next episode. I really do hope you've enjoyed this one, though, and will be joining me for the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.